didn't even know, like, waiting for the thing to notify me.
OMG. Oh, you wanted me to request you.
Yeah, girl. I'm like, what am I doing? I don't know what to do. I'm
Well,
like,
welcome, boo.
there.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, everyone, welcome to The Time Is Now. Thank you guys for tuning in with us. I have my boo. She is amazing. Her spirit and her energy is just so infectious. And we've been dying to have this conversation. She was a part of the series from the start. And so, Tejera is an amazing plus size model. She's just a positivity guru. So, me and her are like, oh my God, let's be best friends. She's an amazing mom of two boys, a wife, an entrepreneur. I mean, she's just doing it all. So let's welcome Tejera. Hey, boo, hey.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be chatting with you today. Like, I had to call my cousin. I did like a little pre-run. I'm like, how do I look? How's my hair? Like,
Yes.
girl took the hat off.
Yes.
I
It's, you
love
know what? We're pulling it together. Listen, we're quarantine ready.
it.
You are
Yes.
gorgeous. You are
So are
beautiful.
you always.
And so we're just pulling it together, girl. And this is just an easy, free flowing conversation, no pressure. I know your story will really change some lives and will touch the hearts of people. So let's dive in. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right. So first question I ask all my guests when the time is now is what drives your womanhood?
Honestly, I love being a woman. It's so funny because I seen a quote this morning that said that my body will do more than your opinions ever will. And then my body carried two humans
At the same time.
literally at the same time. Like, I literally made human life in my body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just that thought alone, that just want to make me just be better, you know,
Yeah.
them, that. So that,
Absolutely. Because it's like we have the power as women, and there may be some women who are not mothers yet, who are
right,
trying, and all of
right.
those things. But the fact that we, in our bodies, in our vessels, we were able to carry women. I mean, well women, I carried a daughter, but as women were able to
Right.
carry,
It might be in the cars. It might be in the
listen, right? That's just powerful. We created life. We create life.
cars. It really is. Like, sometimes, I mean, like, the day to day, you don't really think about it. But sometimes you think, like, you literally made a human being.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, women are amazing. I mean, it is what it is.
I know. I remember when I first had Kylie, I was just a crazy mommy, and I would always like make sure she was breathing. Like I would always, and there's some nights where even like she's 10, and I still go in that room and like make sure the heart is going up and down because it's this idea of they're so precious to us and they're a gift, and that we cherish them. And I'm like, she's like precious cargo. I used to didn't let her go in a car with nobody. I'm like, buckle up your seats. Like, Kylie, are you okay? And so it's just this idea that for me, my daughter is like my somebody who's never gonna leave me, right? Tejera, I have I have like abandonment issues for real, for real. We're just going right on in there, okay? All right, it's only 108. We going into my issues, but
Let's get
I have
into
abandonment issues, and there's this piece of my child that I carried, that I created, that I made, that is mine in the world, and that she's never gonna leave me. But kids have their own way of living, so Kylie's like, bye, mommy. But
yeah. No, I'm definitely like that. I found I think it's funny because once I had the boys,
yeah,
felt like well, now that I'm older and I can think back to certain things, I'm like, okay, I think I always had like anxiety. Sorry about my nails. I think I've always had anxiety, but when I had the boys, all the trauma and everything that I like experienced in my younger times, like it just like resurfaced. And we're like, everything gives me anxiety. Like if I've been in a lot of situations where I've been inappropriately touched and,
yeah,
so I just am really cautious with my kids where they go with, and then it's like that uncomfortable thing of having to have a conversation with somebody about how I
yeah,
feel.
yeah,
Definitely, I get you, girl. Like when you had those kids, it's just you just resurface and you just kind
yeah,
of start to,
yeah.
mother
So
around.
let's talk about you before the babies and you after the babies, right? How did you get into modeling? How did you get into the plus size modeling industry? What does that feel like?
Oh my God. Okay, so it's there's some good to it and there's some bad to it.
Yeah.
So honestly, growing up, I never thought like I'm gonna be a plus size model. I've never. I was always like the loudest one, not loud like I'm just fun. I'm friends with everybody. I'm always cracking jokes. Like my
Yeah.
nick, everybody like Mookie crazy. You know, that's just who I am. So I've never been shy or timid, but I've never been really comfortable with my body. So I just,
Mm-mm.
oh, I'm beautiful. I'm gonna be a plus size model. So that kind of happened. I didn't even like pursue it. Somebody reached out to me on Facebook, a creepy guy. And you guys, if you want to be a model, please do not go and shoot with no random people. Now it's a little different. Now you can kind of, fill it out. But, back like no, maybe like 10 years ago, it wasn't like Instagram. Everybody wasn't
Right.
always safe, but this guy hit me up on Facebook and was like, "Oh, you want to shoot?" So I went to shoot. It was really creepy. I went to his house with my cousin, and yeah, it sounds like so scary. He wanted me to do like lingerie, and you know what's funny? I don't think I've ever seen the pictures.
Girl,
And
because they're somewhere in his arsenal.
the house was really weird. Like there was no furniture in the house. It was just a really weird experience. But then after that, I was like, okay, well let me just give it a try.
Yeah.
The first agency that I actually submitted to, they signed me, and I've been with them ever since. And I love being a model. I love like just creating the art, meeting people.
Yeah.
I love how other women feel inspired and
Yeah.
by the art that I get to make with other people.
Yeah.
But it also is hard on your self-esteem because you're constantly worried about how you look. And just because you're plus size doesn't always mean that you get to just, be
Yeah.
and just live. No, like there's a plus size, smaller plus size woman and a bigger plus size woman. And then when I started, I was like, okay, cool. Like I get to get paid for being, a big girl. But then I come to find out I used to go on castings with girls that were like a size 10 and my height. So I'm a size 18 and
Right.
I'm a size 18, 20, and I'm 5'10", and I'm going against castings with a size 10 model who's also 5'10". So you can imagine
Yeah.
so it kind of played a lot on my self-esteem, and still to this day it still does, a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Definitely, because I think when you think about plus size model, first of all, it's been such a huge wave. Like I think being like, a plus size woman for me for just a long time when you were growing up. Remember how when I remember going with my grandmother sometimes and it was like, dang, I was 13, but I was in the women's, and it just wasn't the clothing that was for us. And
yes.
then it was for so long, you just had to hide your body. And people always come to me like, girl, how are you so confident? Like, where does it come from? And I just learned just to like love the skin that I was in and just like, I can't wear big old frumpy clothes, being a plus size girl. I got a stomach, I'm gonna have to show, but I feel like that's how I found you, just looking through like, plus size blogs and different things like that. And I just was like, oh my God, this is a girl who's
Aww.
realistic, who has curves, who, looks like me. And
Yeah.
it's so important and it's so good for young girls to see those images, for women to see because that skinny model that we were so used to, that only one look of fashion, that's a whole nother ballgame.
I think it matters too, not even for the girls, but I think for the young boys as well to see that, because I think that when there's a perception, an idea of what beauty is, like I grew up and I remember having all these crushes. I call myself the crush. I thank God. Okay, look, I thank God nobody liked me back. Okay, because Lord knows who knows. But
Girl, I used to be like, if I crushed on you, I'm still got this problem now, but girl, in my mind, it's like you became my man. Like I would put
I
little stuff on people's desk. I've just been a finesser my whole life.
me
Like,
too. I think, girl, that's how I met my husband. Finesse that whole little situation, honey. But what I mean is, like, I feel like, so some guys, I was always cool. Like I'm just a cool girl, whatever. So, but I feel like they didn't want to date me or want people to know that they like me because I was a big because I am,
Mm.
then I was a big girl. So it wasn't, but I feel like it's good also for them to change and to see that bigger women are beautiful, and then to be comfortable with that, so then they won't have to feel like they're ashamed about it. So it's not also good for us as women and younger.
Yeah.
It's good for
Yeah.
you that.
Yeah. You know, Drake made the BBWs like popping. You know, when Drake put that into his song, baby,
Oh,
it was just like, what, right? And it was just this thing, this idea. But I believe that. I feel like if you, especially if we do our history and we research, you know, curvaceous, voluptuous women in Africa were queens. And I feel like, you know, men love all this. You
they
know,
do. They want
you
love.
know they do, but society wouldn't let it be. And then it was like, oh, if you were confident, it was like, wow, well, how are you confident? And you know, and it's just this whole psyche that really gets into it. And I'm just so happy that, you know, we're defeating the odds every day. You
Yeah.
more so because you're in on the screen, you're getting the images. But even still, like you said, there's still some insecurities there. When
Of
those
course.
photos come out, they don't look right. You know, I'm like,
I
ooh,
don't even. I don't eat. Being confident for me is, and people wouldn't believe it, but it's not. It doesn't come first nature for me. Like I've grown up all my life heavy, you
yeah,
know, that I've had crushes and no, when you big, people do not let you forget that you're big. Okay. No,
girl, everywhere you go.
I'm Mook. I'm like, or somebody got a problem, but I'm gonna call Mookie. Like, first of all, I'm like the most loving person. Like, it's not, but people perceive you a certain way when you're heavier. So,
Yeah.
nobody lets you forget it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But girl, I forgot what I was talking about.
No, but you were getting ready to say just, you know, being heavier, no one lets you forget it, but you still have to, you were saying that confidence didn't come so easy for you.
Oh
And
no.
so,
So like all my life, yeah. So I'm good at you. You better get me together. So all my life, like I've just never forgot that I was big. It was always in the front of my mind. So
yeah.
to retrain myself to just genuinely love myself, I have to,
Mhm.
like, affirmations. I have to look at myself and say, you know, you're beautiful and you this and you that. Even with my husband, like there was a point like the beginning of our relationship, and like I felt that he was ashamed of me. So I
Yeah.
felt this for so long. It's hard to just I'm a baddie and no,
Yeah.
it's work. It's daily
Yeah.
work, daily.
And I think that, you know, all women, even women on this call, and just for me doing the time is now, I wanted to bring diverse women together. I wanted to bring different women together. And I joke about it sometimes about, especially about weight, because, you know, I think like, girl, if you small, you living your best life. Don't you say nothing about me. But even women who are small or plus or whatever, everyone has their insecurities. Someone may hate their legs. Oh, my legs are too skinny. Oh, I never want to show my arms. Oh, I never want to do this. And you really realize that, yes, ours, because we were always big girls, has been what people see immediately when they walk in the room. But even skinny women, even everybody has these different things that they have to kind of really come and combat. You know, I have women who maybe wish they always had larger breasts, you know, and finally when they get them or they don't get them, they're like, yes, you know, I got boobs. And I'm like, I girl didn't have these since fourth grade. I
But
don't even know no different.
take the tennis, take them.
You know, so it's just this idea of really having to lean into who you are, to who you are. And I remember, I love how you said that weight has just always been a part of your life, because when you think about those journeys as a child, I remember in, you know, third or fourth grade being the tallest in your class, or, you know, being bigger than other kids, and already like no one had to tell us or remind us about the weight, because we thinking
It was
about it ourselves.
yeah.
We are thinking about my weight myself. I remember when I went home, when I went away to college, and I would come home and I would just feel, instead of being excited to come home, I would have anxiety for a week before I got home, because I was like, I know my grandpa gonna be like, girl, you down there just eating everything, like, you know. And so
But they know black folks don't got no hold. They tell you like if they think your biggest house, they point out all the food that you're eating at the functions. Like, but you know the funny thing,
don't get a second plate nowhere. You cannot get a second plate.
second plate, and then if you try to eat cute, get a little something like that, they call you out. You know, it's just no win-win. It's just no win-win at all. But I was definitely the biggest. My friend, we've been friends since kindergarten, and she always make fun of me. She said I've been the same height since kindergarten. So I'm every time I look at my pictures, I'm all the way to one in the back, big as I don't know what. My cousins call me they little big cousin. Like I've just always been big. I've always been big all the
And
time. But
so,
like
and so when did that turn? I know that you're always going to be dealing with the confidence issue, but when, like, where do you think was like your moment where you were just like, I love Tierra, no matter what?
you know what? I think that it was maybe before I got pregnant. Like, I was just like, I was just in a place where I was feeling good about myself, physically and like what I looked like. I was working out a lot and and it wasn't because my body started to change. I just good at myself. But, my mom got sick when I was really young. And sometimes I would think about like, I would have to lift her up and carry.
Mm-hmm.
So God made me this big woman for a reason. If I was 5'5", 120, ain't no way I could lift my mama up. So
Yeah.
I and then just becoming a model and like honestly doing this, meeting people and then seeing how, people, when you love yourself, it makes them feel good. That makes you want who you are and find who you are even more. And I think
Yeah.
I had my boys and my body changed. And then, I felt like I started all over again trying to. So I don't feel like I'm there anymore. Now I feel like I'm in a new space where I'm trying to relearn and relove who I am after kids.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging and swinging, okay?
Listen, that's a whole nother. We're gonna save that one. But I want to tap into a little bit more about you taking care of your mom because I feel like I loved you just from your page and from what you give out. But when I saw you with your mom and when I developed our friendship, talk to us a little bit about your mom and that experience and her illness and just, how that has just
Okay.
molded and shaped you.
Cry baby. So if I get to crying, honey,
It's okay.
so my mom, I think my mom, I would definitely say is one of the reasons why, I never like dress frumpy. I kind of have my sexy because my mama always been sexy. Okay. Matter of fact, I don't know. Have you seen the Master P thing on right now?
Yes, yes, yes.
So my mom really, she used to do videos back in the day. And I was actually in the Make 'em Say video when I was 11 years old. So, but my mom got sick when I was maybe in 11th grade. So she was a really active, really like just do her thing. She was all like working out, took care of herself, and out of nowhere, she just got this really rare disease called polymyositis, and it just like flipped our whole entire lives. Because my mom, like I said, active, so she went to pretty much being bedridden, and it was just it was just
Come
me,
on.
brother, whatever, and it was a lot. It was really hard. I remember I used to have to leave in between classes in high school to like
Yeah.
come to the bathroom and like feed my mom. And my brother, he was I think only in like maybe the first grade. No, maybe like grade. I think he was in the 5th grade. So it was just a lot. So for like the rest of my high school years, I barely graduated from high school because I missed so much school taking care of my mom. And then it's hard taking care of people because you're not the one that's sick.
Yeah.
You don't really get it's just it's hard to be a caregiver, and I did it for 10.
Yeah.
I did it for a long time. I dropped I was going to college and then I didn't have anybody to, help me with my mom
Yeah.
going to school. Um, it's just a lot. And then it wears down the relationship because now it robbed us of having a regular mother-daughter relationship because
Yeah.
always the caregiver. So there was some resentment there. And because, for me, because it's like I lost a lot. I don't want to say lost a lot. I'm in a different space now. I can see things I appreciate.
Yeah.
But when you're in it, you know what I mean? It just feels like you're just losing and losing so many opportunities and so many things. And then my mom, very independent, do things on her own. And then here her daughter is having to, yes to this, no to that, yes to this.
Yeah.
But once
Absolutely.
I had made a really hard decision to put my mom in a home, which was really hard for me because everybody talks so bad about when people put their parents in a home.
Yeah.
That girl.
It's okay. No,
But
yeah.
but it's so important that we take care of ourselves. And
Yeah.
I love my mom to death. I love her. I love her to death. But some people won't, no matter who they are, people will never give you the go ahead to take care of you first.
Right.
Especially when you take care of them so well. So that was really, really hard for me. I love mom and dad. We talk all the time. Now it's really hard because obviously COVID, I can't see her. But
Yeah.
that decision, and then after that, that's when I just like started to really. I think that's where that's when I got to a point when I was like, I love Tier. I'm working on me, taking care of myself.
Yeah.
So first, without guilt, knowing that I gave 100. Like when I tell you, ain't nothing I didn't do for my mom.
Right.
Ain't
Right.
nothing I didn't do for my mom, and
Yeah.
that's on period.
Yeah. It's it's the ultimate sacrifice. You
Yeah,
know, um your mom being sick, but my first mom was my grandmother. And so, when you have older parents, or when my grandmother was my person, you know, my sister just said you got to give yourself some grace,
I,
because ooh, when my grandmother, we had to put her in a nursing home. I wore myself out, Tierra, for a year. I wore myself out going to the nursing home every day to make sure she ate. Every time, and I had a little baby, and it was so heavy, and just even the worry, and it's so much. And I know that it was a hard choice and a hard decision, but I feel peace with it at times, even though my grandmother's no longer with me, because I know that she would want me to be happy, and she knows that I did everything right
every
for her, everything right for her. And think about this: your life flipped upside down in 11th grade.
I know. Yeah, yeah.
11th grade.
You know what? When I think about, so me and my mom, like we've had these talks before.
Yeah.
Growing up, my mom, she was a bit, she did, she always makes tell me to make sure to make sure I say she wasn't a video hoe. Okay.
Right.
Videos like that was, she was a club promoter,
Yeah.
very fast living and whatever. And so she didn't really get a chance to, I felt, raise me,
Yeah.
and then I got sick. I mean, she got sick when I was in 11th grade, and then I had to carry this responsibility. So I think a lot too, for a small amount of time. In the beginning, it was this my mama, I'm a ride, da 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 da. But like I said, I did that for 10 years.
Yeah.
Me and my husband back then we were dating. I would only see him on every other weekend because my brother was sitting with my mom on the weekends. As he got a bit of like older, he can.
Yeah. So you
But
were just constantly sacrificing so much. You
all
had
the
to put yourself first.
all the time, and I'm like an advocate on self-care. And when people say self-care is more, I mean, yes, giving yourself a mask, but self-care is putting yourself first. And there's a quote from Michelle Obama when she said, interview with her and Barbara Walters, and Barbara Walters asked her, like, do you think it's selfish to put yourself first? And she was like, no,
Right.
it's needed,
Yeah.
needed. And
Absolutely.
if the first lady could do it, shit.
We have to. And there's this big movement, right? Like every conversation that I've had with many women across age groups and race, self-care is continuing to come up, right? And I think this idea of really self-care, but also like self-preservation, self-reflection, self-growth, because without all those things, you become a stagnant person. And with mental illness the way it is,
We got
our people probably had so many mental illness struggles their whole life. My grandmother probably suppressed and suppressed and suppressed, and my mom suppressed and suppressed and suppressed. And I'm here to break that
break
cycle.
the cycle. And look, after I put my mom in the home, my sibling was diagnosed with schizophrenia, right? And
Girl,
that's
I
my
know you were like, come on, Lord.
I used to be so mad. It's only three of us, and I used to be so mad. Like, why do I have to be? And like, sometimes I felt like they'd be in cahoots against me because they was both, going through some. So it was kind of like. But anyway, I think like, damn, like, why I gotta be the one? But I thank God because it helped me to learn more about mental health. And this
Yeah.
kind of like as I was pregnant, like kind of during my pregnancy and like a little bit before, whatever. So it helped me a lot to have compassion for people. It helped me to find myself, to realize that I have a little bit of anxiety and to be able to call it something and say,
Yes. Name it.
going on
Name it.
crazy? Am I this? And say, no, I'm not crazy. I'm having a little bit of anxiety today. I
Right.
relax. And it's a big thing for us to realize that depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, even though you cannot physically see it, those things are real.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you are dealing with any of those things, long as you seek help and don't have to do it in silence and by yourself, period.
Yeah. How did you put yourself back together again? Because you said it was only the three of you guys. And like, that's a lot. When your mom was down, your brother was dealing with schizophrenia. Like, how did you find yourself again? How did you pick yourself up for people who might be in the middle of that right now? Because when we go to your page and we see the positivity, you wouldn't even know this.
But I try to be as transparent, but also as respectful because, my experience is also somebody else's,
Yep. Yep.
situation. But definitely my husband, like he allowed me to be broken and to just be,
Mm.
to be able to just be, whatever that may have been at that moment. If I
Yeah.
could do no more, to cry, to have those moments when I find me. I used to have like these panic attacks all the time, but he was like my rock, and him just encouraging me and letting me know that I can, that helped. So that's why I say never go through anything alone, because sometimes we people hide things because they think nobody care.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, like, you cannot do it by yourself. I don't care what nobody say. You can't do it by yourself. And he was my person that helped me. And then after that, it was God. It was praying and meditating, girl. Now I got a whole, and first it's funny because I was like, who am I? Like, I waking up, affirmations, right, meditating and stuff. I have a system to keep myself positive, because it's
Yep.
not, I don't wake up like, well, I do, but I have to be intentional about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Definitely intentional about being better and being happier.
It is because when you wake up, like, I'm back to work. We're planning for the school year. We are in the middle of figuring out virtual learning for our kiddos, and it's hectic. Okay,
I'm
we're
sure.
in COVID-19. I can't see my sister. We in the house. I'm on a diet. Let me tell you. Okay, but listen. But if you have to be positive, and it's funny because someone said to me this week that they were counting on my energy to like get through a tough meeting. And so there's this one piece about, because I think we share this in common, of us, we always show up and we show up with a big smile and big personality and big energy. And people look for us to pull them up. Like, come on, girl, rah rah the team.
Yeah.
And sometimes I want to just show up like dry. Like, I've had a day, I'm worn out, but we can't. There's something in us that just goes on, like, hey guys, what's going on? Hey, the time is now. And it's really like some days I'm like,
I'm there.
mm-mm.
I'm not where you need me to be. And I've noticed too, is because when you are that person, it's like that when people like check on your strong friend, because
Yeah.
people are so used to like you being that person that they don't even, people don't always ask you how you doing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, how you doing? But it's like, I'm asking you how you doing, just ask you how you doing. But no, I'm not doing too good today,
Yeah. Yeah.
So but I've learned also to pick my choosings of who I share.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because some people just
Yeah.
make them feel good about themselves. Like, oh, well, I did ask, because they always feeding off your energy. But
Yeah.
I just drop it on him sometimes. Boop. They take that.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. And I think that ties into, you know, in this conversation we've been talking about women and sisterhood and friendships and, celebrating wins with each other, and like, I think since we are both the cheerleaders for people, Someone asked me yesterday, like, do you feel like people cheer for you? Like your close friends, do they cheer for you? And I was thinking, like, damn, that's a good question. Because sometimes, but here's this idea. She was like, since you show up happy, positive, fabulous, life is perfect, no one needs to clap. You're always fabulous. And I'm like, but you should know the work that I put in to uphold this fabulosity that you think I got.
Yeah,
Right?
I need the clap. And I tell my husband all the time, honey, when you come home, you better notice that this kitchen is clean. Okay. You better know and I let him, but I also what I've done in my life it's with my husband, not necessarily like friends and stuff. Like if people, but I can say that I have a solid ass group of girlfriends like
Yeah.
that. I just lucked up. I don't know what it is. Like I've been having the same friends literally 20 20 to 27 years. Like,
Yeah.
so I can't say that I have a good group of girls, but like with my husband, trying to be with me, trying to find myself and my peace and be happy. I'm trying to, cause sometimes I can be passive aggressive. Like if
Mm-hmm.
what I need, I'll just have an attitude, especially because, and it's funny because I took this personality test and it literally wrote me down to the T. It said that you give, you do anything for anybody, but once it's not reciprocated, you can be like, what, you know what I mean?
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of how I'm gonna be, but so, but I'm
Yeah.
trying to better now. I'm trying to let people know what I need,
Yes.
you
Let
know.
people know. We got to be able to voice that. And I love that you spoke about your husband so much. And you really are lucky to have your husband be your rock. So many women are in relationships where their husband cannot be their rock. And I have friends across the spectrum. I have some friends who have amazing husbands who are there for them, who pick up the pieces, who surprise them, who just give them what they need. And some women don't have that. And some
Right.
women in relationships, and even for me, I would say, I really, I had a positive relationship with my ex, and he's a great guy, and we are great friends and amazing co-parents for Kylie. But there was parts of me that he couldn't put back together again. He couldn't hold. He couldn't hold all of it. And I'm wondering, should we put, as women, should we put the burden? Should we put this? And you guys in the comments chime in too. Like, should we put this burden on our husbands to be our rock and to hold us and put us together again, or is that what we got to do for ourselves?
I
What do we
def
do with that?
I definitely feel like it's a little bit of both. Like yes,
Yeah.
able to lean on you, but it's like that thing when people say like, if you can't make yourself happy, how do you expect to make somebody else to make you happy?
Yep.
A lot of things, a lot of I what I'm doing with myself and just learning myself. I realize that I have a lot of trauma. Like just
Yeah.
comes to like I said earlier, like sexual abuse and like certain things, and like sometimes how I react to my husband, it has a lot to just do with things that I have to fix within myself. It's not his problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not fair to put so much on a person. You got to do the work too. Now, if
You
you're
have to do the work. You have to do the work.
the work, if you're not doing the work within yourself, how the heck do you expect somebody else to deal with your stuff if you can't even deal with if you can't even put it out there to say, this is what I'm dealing with?
Yeah. Yeah.
We dealing with stuff, but we not being 100% transparent. Like
No.
it's a lot. Like, and this is might be a oversharing, but like because I've dealt with a lot of sexual trauma, there's certain things that my husband can't. If I'm not fully alert, I don't like that. You know,
Yeah.
you're not.
Yeah.
And like little things like that. At first, it would be like, because I don't want to share that, I would be more aggressive. Like, don't. It's like he did something.
Yeah.
In actuality, he just trying to love on his wife. But because
Yeah.
that's attached to something, I have to be
Yeah.
like even though it's uncomfortable
Yeah.
say it, I have to give him the opportunity to help me as I put myself back together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That makes
I
sense.
love that someone in the comments said it's great to be, have it yourself and like, them be the glue. But it's also like to be able to rest in someone, to be able to lean on someone and rest in someone, that's powerful. That's
Yeah.
powerful. All
Yeah.
right, here's what we do on this show. We've talked, we went so deep. If you guys are just tuning in, the time is now. Here's one. I want you to finish this sentence.
Okay.
The last time I cried was.
Girl, right now, I was
I
crying.
know right now, but no. But before that, the last time I cried.
I'm such a crybaby. Well, I don't know. I can't think. Let me see. Oh, the last time I cried was recently. I did my little plant stuff, and I have just a lot of confidence just in myself. I'm cheerleader for everybody. When it comes to myself, I'm always a little unsure about myself. So I did it, and like instantly, I booked like some parties, and I was like, oh my god.
Tell us about that. Tell us about it. Tell us about what you're doing.
So I'm doing plant parties. So basically, I'll bring everything you need to make like a pretty little succulent, like a little arrangement to your house, like a paint and sip, but it's more like a plant and sip, right?
I love that.
And planting for me, like it was another thing that helped me get out of like just to find my happy space again. Like after I had the boys, I would just go outside and I would plant. And I had this, my friend brought me some cuttings of some succulents and they grew so pretty into like my full little patio, like in my front house, in the front of my house. It's like, it looks really nice. And I'm like, they made me so happy. And then right now, everybody's in this time of COVID where
Yeah.
emotions. I'm like, I want to share a little bit of my happiness thing. And at first, I was feeling like a little bit of, unsure. And I was talking to my husband about it. He don't know nothing about no plants. He don't know. He don't know how exciting it is. So you gotta be careful who you talk about. Who you talk about your little stuff to, too, because some people make you feel like, don't do. But yeah, I
Right.
was.
Your husband was like, nobody care about no plants. You're like, they will.
Yeah,
And
like
so that made you cry
it,
because of
it,
what? What did it make you feel?
it made me cry not only because I was happy, but it made me cry because I'm like, stop sleeping on yourself. You know what I mean? So much
Yes.
I don't do things because I'm scared, or I'm just like, here goes something.
Everybody on the live today, stop sleeping on yourself.
Period.
That's it. That's
Period.
why I even started The Time Is Now. I was supposed to do a talk show. It didn't happen because COVID hit. And I'm like, I can't let this stop me. I have to get on here. We
And just,
gotta stop sleeping on us because someone else will do your idea or do something. And I also think it's encouraging to see people just start stuff. So many of my friends and people who I love and support on Instagram are just starting businesses and
yes,
just starting to do different things.
yes,
And it's motivational. It's like, come on, let's all win. We all can win. And
yes.
I love that. What would you tell your seventh grade self?
Stop sleeping on yourself. I just get it.
Ah, no, you can't.
Girl, I've been asleep for a long time, honey. I am awake. Okay.
Right.
I think that was it. That I'm just that I can do. I can do it. I can do it. I
Yeah.
just never fully believed in myself. Even when I was younger, I never felt that I was really smart. And I taught, and when because girl, I started so much stuff, and I have to be consistent is another thing. But
Right.
I just never felt smart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
I'm crafty. I'm very art. There's a lot of things I like to do. I can make a lot of things, but I just never felt like, okay, can I take care of like the business part of things? Can I really be?
Yeah.
And I felt like that literally, I think the first grade. I remember sitting at my grandmother's house doing some homework, and I couldn't do something. I remember hitting myself like, stupid, 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 from
Yeah.
sixth grade. And I think I've carried that feeling of not feeling smart enough to my adult life. And that's still something I have to be intentional about. Like I have this thing I tell myself now, it's not that I'm not smart enough. It's just that I don't know something and it might take me a little bit longer than it takes somebody else to get it. That's okay.
That's okay. I love that. And it's the lies we tell ourselves.
Yes.
Everybody on this live right now, what lie are you telling yourself? What lie did you tell that first grade self, that sixth grade self? What lies have we told ourselves? Ashley's in here. Ashley is our friend, our mutual friend. She has an incredible shoe line,
Keep going.
killing it, smash shoes, and Tejera be just dropping all of the pictures, editorials. But it's this idea of the lies that we tell ourselves that are holding us back. It's that trauma. We touched on so much today, just the trauma and our stories. That's why I think it's so important for us to share our stories,
No,
and be able to do that without the judgment of it, without feeling that people are not going to, accept us any longer. And I think sometimes I've noticed that when you share your stories, that's when you even get more juice, more swag, because
it,
people are like, I thought this
it
girl
is.
was just a perfect, pretty, plus size model who has her whole life all together. And here you are on the live saying, I have always struggled with confidence. I have not felt good enough. And this is something that was a part of my trauma and my story.
Because can't nobody use, sometimes, like, sometimes it was my biggest fear to be like, and this might be like if I was at school and like, you know how they used to do like the popcorn reading? I was like, oh,
Yes.
pick me on a popcorn, don't pick me. But then you get the person that know they can't read and they be like, I went to the bed. But you know what? They literally owned that they can't read that way. You know what I mean? You
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
said out loud. I didn't told y'all. I didn't got on here and said there's times I don't feel smart. But now I know that it's not that I'm stupid. It's just that it takes me a
Yeah.
little longer. So now nobody can come to me and be like stupid. I'm like, shit, look, it take me a little long. You can't use that against me. Verbalize real. Sometimes just verbalizing and saying, can't nobody use, because that's what we fear the most. Somebody being able to take our hurt or something that we insecure about and somebody to use it on us. But I
To
know
take your hurt and tell you, get in the mirror and look at it. It's
yeah.
this idea of facing our trauma, getting real with ourselves, getting real into what is the smallness that's crying inside of you, and then having that in itself propel you. Where
Yes.
it's like, nope, you cannot do that. You can't even bring me down. I already know it. I love that. So, last question of the day here. What is the most powerful lesson that your father has taught you?
My father. Okay, so now I'm married, so I have two fathers, right? So, growing up, me and my dad didn't have the best relationship. And I
Yeah.
was wasn't horrible. I grew up in a home, my mom or whatever. But as I'm gotten older, we grew a bond. And one thing
Yeah.
I that my daddy worked his ass off. He works, okay, and he gonna take care of his. So one thing told me that don't be on no broke. That, and
Right.
then my father-in-law, my new dad that I've
Yeah.
got, he's shown me what it is to outside of my husband to really ask for help and to let somebody help you. Because like I said, me and my dad, we didn't live in the same house. It was my mom. It was like a single mom, a single house.
Yeah.
And it's funny because my father-in-law will come over sometimes and he'll be like, don't ever hesitate. And I would cry. And I would be like, oh my God, he probably think I'm fucking crazy. Excuse me. He probably think I'm crazy. I'm like,
Right.
but I've never had that. Outside, like I said, outside of my husband, that's somebody that I'm not married to. There's
Yeah.
nothing, I owe him nothing. Like, but he just
Yeah.
genuinely want to help, and it just made me okay to ask for help. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, damn,
Yeah.
I'm at my in-laws' house right now in a backyard, and the kids in the house, and like something like that was hard for me to do, but he made me feel comfortable with asking for help for somebody who don't necessarily owe me anything, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the kindness, because I think that, even though your father was in your life, many of us, I'm sure everybody on this call today and the live with us, sometimes men just didn't show up. Sometimes our fathers just didn't show up for us all the time. And I think that wow, gosh, I've been really fathers. I love this question because I wanted my dad to be a part. As this quarantine girl, we reflecting, we're vibing, we're getting on high frequencies.
Got it, honey.
And I had been just thinking about my dad, and he wasn't someone who was he was always in my life, but not a prominent figure. People always connected to me to my grandparents' story and to my mom's story, but fathers. And there's this disappointment that we carry sometimes because they just didn't always show up. And then when we got into our relationships and our marriages, we're like, I don't need no man. I'm independent. I can do all this by myself. I don't need you. And I think that men still need to be needed in a way.
Definitely.
That's a whole nother show. But men, so it's like, how do you as if you're doing your work for yourself, and you are, we know that we cannot always depend on men because they've let us down, starting with our fathers who are supposed to lift us up. And then how does that trickle into the men you dated, the men you marry? It's a lot. And I think it just goes back to us.
And I was just about to say, it goes
Yeah.
back. At the end of the day, we we have to change ourselves. And like I said, when it was just me and my brother, it was always me doing things and getting things done. I met my husband, who comes from a 2-parent household. His daddy is amazing. His mom is amazing. They've been married for what, 56 years now. They've been
Wow.
13 years old. When I tell you this man does everything for his wife, she's never even had a pedicure, okay? He does her feet. I
Go,
swear,
you know what?
I
Come
swear,
on now.
I
No.
told her, I was like, oh, she's like, don't nobody touch my feet but my husband, okay? Yes.
That's
So
that
it
old
was
school love, y'all. That's that old
so
school
beautiful.
love.
But when I met me and my husband, some things are difficult for us because he moves in a very take care of my woman type way. Sometimes that's like a shock for me, because I'm like, hold on now, hold on now. I can, don't just leave me out and start doing do that. Like, I don't like that.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
Sometimes it upsets me and it offends me almost. I'm like, see me. But for him, he's just doing what he saw his dad do.
Mm.
So I had to soften myself, and I had to be like, okay, allow him to take the reins. So at the end of the day, it does start with you, and you have to recognize, I want this to work. Let's, you give a little, do a little, whatever it is, but you definitely got to start with you, and it'll, trickle down to the relationship.
Yeah. But until you know you, ladies,
So,
until you know who you are, until you know what you love, until you know what makes you cry, until you know what makes you happy, it's a journey. I don't know how old you are, but I'm 36. How old are you?
22.
So
I
you gonna just let me
had
say
a day,
I'm 36 right here?
had a day over 22.
You just 22 out here in these streets.
I'm 32. I'm 32 years old, girl.
But listen, I just feel there's something about our 30s that just feels like, come on. And people always say that the 40s, girl, I was so out in my 40s because
Period.
we're just in this space where we're doing the work, ladies. We're doing the work. Like, the time is now. We're not playing small. We're not sleeping on ourselves. We're
Yeah.
not waiting on no man to save us.
I think what that is, though, is things like this. We've sat on here as two Black women having
Yeah.
conversations about mental health, having conversations about, insecurities and body.
Yeah.
There wasn't on social media, and people can come in and can hear this in bits and pieces, and it's planting. We
Yes.
The fact that you're doing this with a lot of different women, you're planting little seeds. And there wasn't anything like this. You got Oprah, but you know what I'm saying? Like, Oprah came on, some people was at work, they had DVR. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's more accessible to get the knowledge, to learn about yourself, to be like, okay, well, maybe I need to, what is this that they talking about?
Yeah, it's true. And I think, like, this is the part of it that shouldn't be held back. It used to be the women who had found the secret to it, but they wouldn't have real conversations. And I was so tired of, like, these stuffy networking brunches where it's like, how do we boss up? And I want, yes, at the end of this conversations and at the end of our show run, I want women to have found the boss inside of them, because that is what keeps me going.
I would have.
But I want us to have a place, girl. But I wanted us to have a place where we could just be authentic and real. I'm so lucky that I've had girlfriends and sorority sisters, and we could have had all the fun in the world. I love me a great cocktail. But when I was able to connect to the human spirit, when I was able just to really be who I was, cry with somebody, look at somebody, say, I love you, you are beautiful, that changed my day. That made me feel better. That was healing for
Yeah.
me.
No, for sure.
And I just wanted to create this space. I just wanted to create this space. And what I love is that two Black women can be on this conversation today, and it can resonate with so many people. But I can be on with a white woman next week, and she still has her same stuff. Because yes, we're in COVID-19. Yes, we're in the middle of the huge election that's coming up, that we have got to make sure that we have our voices heard, and we got to have real change. And as president, we won't go there. But it's just, there's certain things that are equally can divide us. But as women,
You look,
as women,
but I have to say that I'm not gonna lie. I don't. A lot. I've told you before about the Rachel. What is it? Rachel Hollis. I
Yes, yes.
I kept seeing this lady's book, and I'm like, I got what the hell? She gonna tell me about anything? But turns
Right.
and her brother has suffered from mental illness. He ended up like killing himself and just like, oh,
Yes.
like I love her. And there, I have a neighbor houses down from me. I never seen this lady a day in my life. Okay. And then after I had the boys there about 8 weeks, I was walking around my neighborhood. She was walking and she was big as hell, like huge. And I'm like, girl, you gonna haul that? I'll talk to everybody. I'm like, girl, you gonna haul that up the hill? Turns out she's pregnant. And when I say she a white woman, I mean white is all out white. Only thing she listens to is like like not even Beethoven, because we find out that he well, but like she I can't even, she's the one got me guarding it. And that's my, me and her are like this.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
it would make no sense. Okay.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
have so much in we just, that is my girl. We lean on each other. I can be as honest and as humble as her with just things that we dealing with. Obviously I'm a black woman, so there's other things that I can't really talk to her about, but
Yeah.
but we can chop it up. We can chop it up.
Yeah.
God sent her in my life to help me get, she got twins. Our twins are literally weeks apart, and
Wow.
we've been friends since my boys was 8 weeks. 8 weeks.
And you needed that with twin
I
boys.
God straight sent me a white lady, and me and her like this. Who would have thought?
And she has twins.
She
And
got,
you know that was destined. That was
I became
destined to happen.
the gated community with the trap music on.
You
She,
be bip, 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 bip.
Tierra, turn it down, Tierra. Come outside. Oh, just
And
I,
that's the part. We're gonna wrap up, but I love that. You know why I love it? Because even with women in friendships that are deep and that you can lean on them, you're still showing up as yourself. So you're not turning into, you're still walking in that friendship as here. I have a Latino BFF who's on here, and we've been friends for 10 years plus, and I'm still gonna be me when I go over there. I'm like, I'm not eating tacos without cheese until you fry my shell. And it's just like it's that point of not changing who we are in any of our spaces and our arenas, but also seeing that even if women are different from us, we can have a way to connect.
yes.
So
I didn't.
thank you so much for being on my show. Listen,
And
I love you. Not only are you so beautiful, paving the way for plus size curvy girls like me and young girls to feel confident and beautiful um about themselves. Yes, fry my shell. But
fry my shit.
I know, because she's still laughing. That got me off. But the thing is, I love that you just have this story, and I love that you shared your story with us, and that you make everyone smile, and you just are just. I just love you, and it's so good. I want to say this to people on Instagram. When you see people you love on Instagram, go in their DMs, because this is a way to connect us to women who we wouldn't have touched or wouldn't have seen. And so I just love you. Thank you for
I
being my friend.
for having me, and I likewise, like I love seeing you do this. Like I love everything you be doing. Okay, when you be doing your events, honey, when you be with your girls and you be encouraging them. Like I live for it. Okay, I live for it. I love how I feel like this relationship is reciprocal. I'm hoping that you feel my love as well. Like, cause I
Yeah.
literally love you. I love seeing this. I love watching all your interviews like you are doing it, and I'm so excited and so happy that you allow me to be in your space, girl. Cheers.
I know. So we made it, girl. We made it. I love y'all. Happy Saturday, everyone. You guys, we've got 2 episodes left. 2 episodes left, and then we're going to pop out with some new things. But thanks y'all for tuning in. Thank you. And have a great day,
Bye.
everybody. Bye, ladies.